So the human central nervous system mainly consists of two parts. Central nervous system mainly consists of brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. So these three parts are present in the central nervous system. The central nervous system mainly consists of two parts. One is brain and another one is spinal cord. Next, central nervous system protects brain and spinal cord. Central nervous system protects and supports both brain and spinal cord by the skeleton or skeletal system. The skeletal system gives protection and support to the central nervous system, that is brain and spinal. Central nervous system, that is both brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord. Both are covered by three connective tissue membranes. Central nervous system, that is both brain and spinal cord covered by three connective tissue membranes. Those are called meninges. Meninges. Brain and spinal cord. So brain starts from skull to spinal cord ends until above the buttocks region. So from skull region, brain starts at above the buttocks region. Spinal cord is ends. So the brain and spinal cord both are covered by three connective tissue membranes. Three connective tissue membranes. Those three connective tissue membranes called meninges. Generally here, the brain is protected by a bony case that is called cranium. Cranium. Okay, so here, see, this is brain. Assume this is brain. The brain is covered by a bony case. This is called bony case cranium. The cranium covered by skull. Completely outer part, that is skull. Inside of the skull, cranium. Inside of the cranium, brain. In such a way, the brain is well protected and supported by cranium and skeleton. Okay? In such a way, the brain is protected. Then the spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. The brain is protected by the cranium or the bony case. The spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Already, as you know that in last before chapter we have discussed that. The brain is protected by a bony case that is called cranium. Whereas the spinal cord, already you know that where it can be located. So from the brain, the spinal cord is arise. From the brain, the vertebral column is arise. The vertebral column, inside of the vertebral column, spinal cord is present. Okay. Here I said the central nervous system, that is both brain and spinal cord, is covered by connective tissue membrane, three connective tissue membranes. Those three connective tissue membranes are called meninges. So those meninges, let us see now. Three connective tissue membranes. One is dura mater. Second one is arachnoid membrane. Third one is phi mater. Dura mater, outermost tough part. See here, the diagrammatic representation of dura mater. See here, tissue which is connected outside to the skeleton in the brain and spinal cord. That is called dura mater. That is called dura mater. It is the tough outermost part, outermost membrane, which connects outside to the skeleton, inside to the brain. Okay, so in the brain, outside, in the vertebral column, in the spinal cord, it is present outside. So outermost part of the brain and spinal cord is called dura mater. It is the toughest part, tough part, very tough, strong part. Okay, that is called dura mater. It is outermost part of the brain and spinal cord, which is connected outside to the skeleton, inside to the brain and vertebral column. Next, connective tissue membrane, arachnoid membrane. See, arachnoid membrane. See, in between these two, the membrane that is called arachnoid membrane. Arachnoid membrane. Arachnoid membrane. It is middle part. Arachnoid membrane. It is present inside of the dura mater. It is present in between dura mater and phi mater. That is called arachnoid membrane. So it starts from brain to spinal cord region until spinal cord, until end of the spinal cord. That means above the buttocks region, the vertebral column and spinal cord is ends. Until that, this is called arachnoid membrane. It is middle part of the brain. It is middle part of the brain between dura mater and phi mater. Next, phi mater. Phi mater. It is the innermost part of the brain and spinal cord. It is delicate. It is a delicate part. Innermost delicate part of the brain and spinal cord is called phi mater, which is directly covered the nervous tissue of the brain and spinal cord. Phi mater, it directly covers the nervous tissue of the brain and spinal cord. Subarachnoid space. See here, subarachnoid space. The space between dura mater and phi mater is called subarachnoid space. It is dura mater. It is phi mater. In between these two, there is a space is present. In between these two, there is a space. In between, here diagrammatically small, you may not get clear visible. Okay, so in between dura mater and phi mater, at the arachnoid membrane region, there is a space that is called subarachnoid space. In between dura mater and phi mater, there is a space that is called subarachnoid space. Here you may not get clear view. Okay, so that. So this region is called arachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. That space is filled with a fluid. Filled with a fluid. An extracellular fluid is filled in the subarachnoid space. That is called cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid. Arachnoid, subarachnoid space is filled with an extracellular fluid that is called cerebrospinal fluid. So this cerebrospinal fluid is present in first one, subarachnoid space. In between outer and inner membrane, there is a space. That space is called subarachnoid space. That space is filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. This is the subarachnoid space is filled with. Second one. Here the very important point. There are 4 cavities are present in the central part of the brain. There are 4 cavities. Those 4 cavities are called ventricles of the brain. Ventricles of the brain. 4 cavities. 4 cavities are called ventricles of the brain. There are 4 cavities are located in the central part of the brain. So, in the brain, these cavities are widened. And forms space. That is called ventricles of the brain. Ventricles of the brain. So, cerebrospinal fluid even present in ventricles of the brain and central canal of spinal cord. From here, a central canal is passed. So this is central canal of spinal cord. These 4 are ventricles. Even these ventricles and the central canal of the spinal cord also filled with a fluid. That fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. That's what ventricles and central canal. Central canal is present in the spinal cord. See, this is the central canal. The central canal passes through spinal cord in the vertebral cord. So even that central canal also contains fluid that is called cerebrospinal fluid. So this fluid is circulating with the help of sharp hair-like structures called, can you say anybody? We discussed this point on locomotion and movement. In the ventricles of the brain, cerebrospinal fluid circulated from brain to spinal cord, lower region, from lower spinal cord to upper brain. With the help of short hair-like structures, those short hair-like structures are called cilia. And that day we discussed that ciliary movement. Yes. Okay, so in the ventricles and in the spinal cord, a short hair-like structure called cilia, which helps in the moving of cerebrospinal fluid from anterior part of the brain to the posterior part of the spinal cord. Okay, so this is the cerebrospinal fluid. The nature of the cerebrospinal fluid. Nature of cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid is clear. It is clear, slightly. It is clear, slightly alkaline in nature. Slightly alkaline in nature. It is clear, slightly alkaline in nature, which is similar to the lymph. which is similar to the lymph. Lymph is looks white color. Even it is also clear means like water. It is clear. Any impurities are not present. Clear, slightly alkaline nature. It is similar to the fluid lymph. Lymph. It undergoes slow circulation. It undergoes slow circulation from brain to lower part, from lower to. Okay. So next view. This is the nature of the cerebrospinal fluid. Next, functions of cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid. So the first function, in the subarachnoid space of the brain and the spinal cord lies with a number of blood vessels. Number of blood vessels. Okay, so this is the subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid. S stands for subarachnoid space. It lies the number of blood vessels. These blood vessels supplies blood to the brain and the spinal cord. Therefore, this region play a major role in respiratory exchange. Respiratory gases are exchanged. Respiratory gases exchange. While blood vessels are like located number of blood vessels, so that blood is supplied. So in this place, due to the presence of blood vessels, it helps in the exchange of respiratory gases. Supply nutrients. Supply nutrients. Here one important point. The brain alone 2% of oxygen takes. Out of 100% of inhaled oxygen, brain alone takes 2 to 5% of oxygen. In that 2 to, in some members 2, exactly we cannot say that. 2 to 5% of oxygen is absorbed by the brain alone. In such cases, the brain performs its activities effectively. So, and also helps in absorption through the blood. It supplies nutrients and waste materials. Waste materials between cerebrospinal fluid and nervous tissue or nervous system. Okay, so through the blood vessels, blood goes. The blood is entered into the cerebrospinal fluid. From the cerebrospinal fluid, the blood, oxygen, nutrients goes to the brain. Brain means nervous tissue. Brain is made up of a number of nervous tissues, number of neurons. Okay, so respiratory gases, nutrients, waste materials are exchanged in between blood and nervous tissue. Okay. Next, cerebrospinal fluid protects the brain and spinal cord from mechanical shocks and injuries. Whenever any small, suddenly we will fall down on the ground. Kids often used to fall down. While we are driving, suddenly we will fall down. For little accidents, for small accidents, nothing happens to our brain. Suddenly, some conditions, while we are going inside of a home or outside of the home, so suddenly small injuries happens to our head. For small injuries, nothing will happen to the brain due to the presence of cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid acts as shock absorber. It protects the brain from mechanical shocks and small injuries. Just it acts as cushion, like thermocol thermocol sheet. If you wanted to carry television or system, any complicated electrical items, sensitive electrical items, if you wanted to carry, how will pack in between thermocol sheets? So thermocol sheet will protect them in such a way. The cerebrospinal fluid protect our brain from the mechanical shocks and injuries. It just acts as a cushion-like structure. Cerebrospinal fluid controls the blood pressure in the brain and spinal cord. In spite of any fluctuations occurs outside of the body, outside of the brain parts. From heart to brain, some blood vessels goes. From the heart to brain, some blood vessel goes. In middle of the blood vessels, cranial vessels, from heart to brain goes. In those cranial vessels, outside of the brain, any fluctuations occurred. In this body, any fluctuations occurs in the blood volume or blood pressure. Nothing happens, any damage to the brain. In such a way, cerebrospinal fluid controls the blood pressure. Cerebrospinal fluid controls the blood pressure. In spite of any fluctuations occurs outside of the cranial blood vessels. Okay. So these are all the functions are performed by the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay. That's all. Next. So you might have studied about gray matter and white matter in your lower class 10. So in spite you studied in your lower classes, here important to know that. So first of all, gray matter. So the brain, the outer surface of the brain looks gray in color. Due to the presence of gray color, due to the presence of cell body, dendrites, and synapses of neuron. Due to these, outer surface of the brain looks gray in color. Okay, so gray in color, outer surface of the brain looks gray in color due to the presence of cell body, dendrites, synapses, junctions of the neurons are present. Those parts are present in outer, extremely outer surface of the brain. Therefore, the outer surface of the brain looks gray in color. So, inner surface of the brain looks white in color. Due to the presence of myelinated fatty insulating myelinated sheet is present around the axons. So due to this myelinated sheet around the axon, inner part of the brain looks white in color. Myelinated axon. Second one, here see, it contains gray matter region. That means outer surface of the brain contains number of numerous intermediate neurons. Intermediate neurons means what? Motor neurons, sensory neurons. In between these, mixed neurons. In gray matter region, it contains numerous intermediate regions. So in white matter region, number of axons, numerous axons are present. Its parts are connected to various parts of the brain, spinal cord, and other regions. Okay. In white matter region, number of axons present. In parts, number of axons are present. Okay, so its parts, these parts, axon means what? Cell body, dendrons, That's third point. In the brain, gray matter is present outer surface of the body. White matter is inside. In the brain, gray matter is outside, white matter is inside. Whereas in spinal cord, if it is the gray matter is outside, here white matter is outside. Here white matter is inside, here white matter is outside. Here gray matter is outside, here gray matter is inside. Opposite. While in spinal cord, axons are present in outer side. That's why myelinated axons are present outside of the spinal cord. That's why outer matter looks white. Cell body, dendrites, synapses are present in deeper parts of the spinal cord. That's why gray matter is inside. This is the differences between gray matter and white matter. About it, clear information. Okay, that's it. So about the gray matter and white matter, more and more information we will keep discussion when we will start brain. Next topic, human brain. The human brain is specialized complex organ which is protected and accommodated inside a bony case called cranium. Everybody knows that. The brain is a specialized sense organ which is protected and accommodated, located inside of the bony case. That bony case is called cranium. Inside the cranium, the brain is well protected. Among all the organisms, human brain is, the cranial capacity of the human brain is more than 1,000. Among all the organisms, brain, the thinking capacity of human brain is more. Cranial capacity means the thinking capacity of human brain is more than any other organisms. The human brain weighs about 1,350 grams. 1,350 grams. The human being brain weighs about 1,350 grams. As already discussed that outer surface of the brain looks grey in color, in deeper surface of the brain looks white in color. So the human brain is mainly divided into 3 parts. Or else human brain consists of 3 parts. That is forebrain. It is also called prosencephalon. Forebrain is also called prosencephalon. Midbrain, it is also called mesencephalon. Prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and third one is hindbrain. Hindbrain, it is also called rhombencephalon. It is also called rhombencephalon. So see here, forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Everybody knows that. Already you studied in your class. But forebrain is also called prosencephalon. Midbrain is also called mesencephalon. Hindbrain is also called rhombencephalon. These names you have to be remembered. Forebrain consists of again three parts. Cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, midbrain, mesencephalon is called consists of corpora quadrigemina, corpora quadrigemina. Hindbrain consists of cerebellum. Second one is pons below the. Third point is middle of oblongate. This is the information. If we will discuss about these, prosencephalon explanation is gets over. Corpora quadrigemina, midbrain, mesencephalon. Hindbrain, rhombencephalon, cerebrum, pons below the middle oblongate. Pons below the middle oblongate, collectively called brainstem. Okay, so this is the introductory part of the